Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Success Podcast. I have with me today a very special guest, Shevon Pereira. So, Shevon is the founder of Mongolian Street. He has been in corporate for a long time. And honestly, Shevon, the way I would introduce you is when people ask me, who are the three most influential people in your life? You're definitely in the top three.
Wow, what
And
an honor.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm very happy and I'm humbled to
Thank
have you
you.
here. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here.
It's an honor to be here because I think even when the restaurant started, you're one of the first people to believe in them. You wrote in the newspaper about it. So it's an honor. Thank you so much.
No problem. It's my pleasure. How's it going? How are you?
Good. I think business has been good, life has been good, news has been good. How has it been with you?
Good. Going well. I mean, I am doing
The,
my
the-
work, doing public speaking training. It's
yeah,
all
the
going
training
well.
thing is hitting off very well,
It's
no?
hitting
Yeah,
off. I'm
excellent.
getting more and more into comparing. So
Right.
all of that is going quite well.
Okay.
So Shevon, one of the things, and get straight to it, right? One of the things that I have always admired about you, right, over everything else, is how amazing you are as a communicator, right? Because when I got to know you through Gold FM, right, when we used to work together in radio, and everybody who knew you thought they were your best friend, right? Or at least they looked up to you as a mentor, as a brother. And it was simply because of the way you spoke to people. I mean, I personally told you that you're one of the three most influential people in my life because of the way you used to speak to me, the way you used to encourage me, and the way you used to communicate with me. Is this communication skill something that you always had in your life, or is this something that you built up over a period of time?
Well, surprisingly, I was one of the quietest guys in school. Like I had one friend
Really?
throughout school, just one, and I never spoke. I was one of the most quietest people. But for some reason, but I did elocution. My mom was a teacher as well, and it was her passion to do that. My dad was a corporate leader, but funnily enough, wherever he worked, he would be the one to compare all the corporate events, like his office events. So I don't know how it happened. I think I got the voice from my father, the skill of speaking and all probably from my mom and dad both. But the thing is, any of those relationships that you spoke of, the friendships, whatever I've spoken to them, the key there was it was genuine. I don't think I put on a show. I had nothing to gain most of the time. But like if I see something in you, and sometimes I have this itch, like if I feel you don't know what you have, like I want to tell you. And I know I've been told it's a little annoying also to some people because sometimes when I get passionate about it, I talk a lot.
Yeah.
So I go a little overboard as well. So yeah.
How was it during your school time? I mean, were you very active in sports? Did you do a lot of extracurriculars? What was your school life like?
So I was a choir boy since grade 4. Other than that, for a while, I was one of those guys who didn't study nor did any sports for a while. But then, for some reason, around the time that I had to do O levels, just before that, um, things started working out for me. So I played a bit of cricket, a little bit of basketball, but I was heavily involved in choir, and I still am. I still think for the Old Rose Choir when I have time, but mostly very like average or below average kind of person in school. Yeah,
You said you had one friend. Was
yeah.
this true during your school career? I'm sure you would have made a lot of friends. I mean, you seem like a pretty popular guy now. Was this true back in school?
It wasn't like for some reason, like
Okay.
till a couple of years ago, I wouldn't go for the big match to watch the big match because I didn't know who to hang out with. I didn't have anyone to hang out with. But when things started working out, like people also realized, oh, this guy has changed. So they were curious, and I also invested time in friendships and so on. So much so, I've never been to a wedding of my any of my batchmates ever. I've never been
Really?
invited. Meaning, as in, I didn't have friends. So I had one friend that also, here's the thing, he became my friend when I was in like probably grade 6. And then from A levels, he went into a different stream. I did commerce. It's a very short-lived friendship, but he's still my friend. But yeah, all the, like my best friend, for example, is a guy who I met at the bank when I used to work at the bank at 20. Still my best friend. So yeah, that's about it.
When did the personality shift happen for you? Was it after you entered the corporate?
Yeah, so one reason for that is definitely communications. How it happened was, I wanted to get into the FMCG trade. My dad wanted me to work at a famous, the world's #1 beverage brand. And one of his friends who used to work there promised me a job, and then I was waiting for this uncle's phone call one day. It never happened. Then I opened the newspaper and I saw a small ad, tiny, this size, saying, "Do you want a wallet full of money?" I said, "That's exactly what I wanted." I mean, you're 18, right?
Yeah.
So I applied for it. It was at a call center called Peach. So what we had to do was we had to call people in the UK during UK hours, pretend that we are in the UK, and sell a pack of 100 pence. So I became quite good at that point, and I realized, oh, I can speak. But it was a script that we had to by heart and speak. So then I realized, okay, I can speak a bit, and the voice kind of worked as well. And I excelled there. And as a result of it, I got a job at a bank. And at the time I got that job, I got a job as an assistant manager, and I was the youngest person in a management role at that international bank in the whole world. It's still, I think, the world's #1 or #2 bank. I think that record still holds, I'm not sure. But that call center stint gave me a lot of confidence, because very soon I realized I was good at selling, and it was to do with how I spoke. So then when I went into the bank, also handling a team of people who were at least 5 years older than me, the youngest person, required communication, and like how I spoke to them, how I balanced them, how I was able to get their respect, to the few who actually respected me, because I had long hair, and I used to like, have a few bad habits back then also, but I managed. Yeah.
So what were the qualities that you think you had at that time to become the youngest manager of the bank that you mentioned? I mean, surely it you would have performed for sure, but outside of that, to be given the role of a manager to manage people 5 years old or 10 years older than you, they would have seen something amazing in you, right? What are the qualities that you think you had at that time, and what qualities do you think anyone getting into the corporate now should inculcate in themselves if they want to get to such a level?
So here's the thing. This is what I don't know whether I mean, I've gone for podcasts and all, then I've said this many times. This is not your technical answer that you're looking for. I will create that technical answer and give it as well, but I truly believe it's God. That's the truth, because I don't know. I
Okay.
really don't know. I don't know how I was so quiet in school.
Yeah.
And I picked up that phone in the call center. It happened. The bank job happened because back then there was no Wi-Fi. The vice president of a particular bank was, so I was delivering a training to my colleagues, and the vice president of that bank, the head for the whole region, was staying at that hotel, which is Cinnamon Lakeside now, TransAsia back then, and his room's internet connection didn't work. He was put into this training room right at the back to use the internet connection there. So he saw me speak, and he waited in line after the training program, and he spoke to me and he offered me a job. So that's not
Shit.
normal. Then when I went to that job also, like, I really don't know, but how I feel like God just doesn't give a job like that also. He works on your skills and improves and exposes you to things. So here's where it gets technical. I think I I would try to do whatever I do to the best of my ability, whether I get paid for it or not. Even if I do a comparing gig free of charge, sometimes I get invited for weddings and I wonder why is this guy inviting me? We are not close friends even. And 3 days after the invitation, I get a call and say, "Machan, compare karanna puluwanda?" So I think I get invited to compare the wedding. But I'd still do it really well. Like even radio, I got into radio at a point when I was going through something and I needed an outlet once a week. So, but I gave my best. And at the time that I retired from radio, I retired with an award, as well as being probably the highest paid in the entire industry for a 3-hour show. So it's just that my dad and my mom both have this spirit of excellence where they say, whatever you do, give it your best, no matter what. Like, give your best. And I gave my best, like, to whatever job I did. If I knew I had to speak to my team, I would prepare, I would rehearse. Now, even last night, I read news on air, on TV. But on the way for news, I realized I've not been in the best of moods these days, so my tonality wasn't good. So I did voice drills from my house to Rupavahini. I did pronunciation drills to get my T's and R's right and all of that. So, and I work for a state TV, and you know it's not for the money that people do that. But like, if you give your best, good things kind of come to you easier.
I've spoken to a lot of people in the corporate sector, and one of the things that they always mention is having a good attitude, a positive attitude towards life.
Yes.
How has this helped you as you progressed in your career? Now, you said you worked in a bank. Where did you go after that, and how did those opportunities open up to you?
Okay, so when I was in the bank, I had two, um, I would say, you know, 2 naughty years. So I was this young manager. I had a car. I used to play for a band for fun, and all of a sudden I was popular. I was this nobody in school, and all of a sudden everyone wanted to be my friend, and like I was popular, and I didn't know how to handle it. So I used to go partying a lot and this and that, and I like, had a couple of loans and got into a bit of debt. And then one day I realized I need to change my life. So I quit the bank, started doing a small business on my own, doing events. At the same time, I wanted to get into sales because I knew that's the only place where I can earn without a limit. But nobody was willing to give me a job. Then Trillium Residencies, they said, we can't give you a job, you don't have experience, but we'll pay you 25,000 for every apartment you sell. Now I thought that's a good deal, but then I realized like this was during the economic crunch in 2009, the world recession. And none of the seniors there have sold an apartment for 6 months. And I had to sell one each month to earn 25,000. But I also realized these people did like their job 9 to 5. But people would come to see apartments after 5 till at like 9, 10, weekends, all of that. So I used to stay in the model apartment the whole time. And in my first month, I sold 2 apartments. And then it started. Then I realized people buy apartments. Everyone was trying to sell apartments for people to live. I thought this is a great investment. And there were some magazines in the office, and I was reading the Newsweek magazine. It said people invest in apartments for tax purposes and so many other things. So there were a couple of cricketers who came to see it, and I told them, I will sell you the apartment, then I will buy it back and sell it to somebody else. I had no money, but I had to find a buyer. And I did that for a very famous cricketer. And then all of a sudden, all the cricketers are my customers, he had told the others. So that's where it kind of turned around for me. And so I am in debt to Dr. Lalit Kotalavala, who bet on me because everyone said no. I don't think he's the guy. There was one vacancy. And within 6 months, he absorbed me to the permanent cadre, made me sales manager, gave me a really cool car, fuel to everything, and then I paid off my debt and everything turned around. Yeah.
During this time, you mentioned that you had 2 naughty years, you had some challenges, you had some debt. Were you close to God at this time? Do you think that God pulled you out of this situation because you were faithful? Or
Absolutely. The thing is, when I was in grade 9, I wanted to become a Catholic priest. I was so serious about it. But then my POG, prefect of games, the priest, told I had just started playing some cricket. He said, finish cricket and then do it. By the time I finished cricket, I had a girlfriend, and then you couldn't be a priest anymore. So, but I was always faithful. Like I have broken up with a person who said, like, because I said God first, then you. And then she said,
She didn't like
no,
that.
no. And I said, I'm sorry, then we are done here,
Yeah, yeah.
But see, the thing is this, I'm not saying I'm a saint. Neither was David. David was a terrible man, but he wrote the Psalms and all. God says he was a man after God's heart. So God looks at the heart. So I would get really drunk on a particular night, on a Friday night. I can't see the road, and I would say, instead of calling a friend or something or taking a cab, I would say, Holy Spirit, take me home.
And you
And
drive home.
I have done it a couple of times. I don't do things like that anymore. I don't do any of those things. I was like 19,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So much that in the morning when I wake up, probably in the afternoon when I wake up, I go and open the curtain to see if the car is there because I can't remember coming home. So
shit.
I've had like bad times like that during that time, but my faith was strong always. Even like a car, like this, like I said, this couple of weeks have been quite tough. I was telling you just before this also, but my faith stands strong, and I believe, it's very very little to do with Shevon Pereira, because he's as human as they get, and probably weak, quite weak. Yeah.
During those tough times, you obviously get down mentally,
Yeah.
right? How do you navigate those situations?
So sometimes when you're down, yes, you pray and things like that also, but it's a battle. Um, I think I'm a creative guy, like most of the Mongolian street stuff to everything like I do on my own. Although I'm, slightly older, but I keep myself updated with how to edit TikTok videos, to the captions, to the graphics, to so many things like I used to do, and I still do. But at the same time, like I would, it's it's an emotional battle during that time. So something that I believe is creative people are very emotional. So I don't do well during things like breakups and stuff like that. I go really down. At the same time, I would treat a person who I'm with also really well also because I'm an emotional guy. That works well in business also because our business doesn't have any debt at all, zero. We don't keep pending bills. Suppliers get startled when they find the payment on the day they land the goods in the restaurant. So we have that kind of discipline as well. But during downers like that, I had to ride it off. Like there was no shortcut. You feel it. You have the miserable mornings where you are on survival mode for a couple of weeks, and then you teach yourself how to get into it. Strangely enough, Mongolian Street was birthed as a result of something like that.
Wow, what happened?
So I wanted to open a restaurant since 2013. So I got the telephone number that I have in preparation for it. So I was going out to this girl at the time, and I tell her like I want to do this, and she was doing her own business as well in the food industry, and she said, "Okay, first we do this, then we'll think about it." I said, "Oh, okay, no problem, all good." But I wasn't the best boyfriend to her as well, to be in all honesty. But I didn't deal well with the breakup because her avenue out of that, like the next boyfriend, happened to be a very good friend of mine,
Shit.
very good friend of mine who I really really love and respect. But we are friends now, so I didn't know how to deal with that. And 31st night, I saw a particular picture, and it really broke my heart. And first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, this feeling is not going away. Seventh, I saw an advertisement for Eat Street, and I thought the only way is to get a dopamine kick by performing well at something that will keep me going through this phase. So when you're feeling down, one thing you can do is you can do something really well, like a project or even create something, anything. Gives you that dopamine hit that you need, kind of replaces that, uplifts the mood. So 7th we booked the stall, 21st we had our first stall for Mongolian Street. And the first day itself we had a sale of 100,000 rupees.
No way.
So that was, the rest is history.
So you already had this concept in your mind even before the relationship or during the
Yeah,
relationship, you
yeah,
already
yeah,
had the
yeah,
concept.
yeah. I
Okay.
did, as in, so I knew I wanted to get into the food business.
Right.
I realized rice and curry and things like that were like had a food wastage and stuff like that. So I didn't want to have a business which had a food wastage or wastage of anything for that matter. So when I visited Malaysia, I used to work for the British High Commission, and they sent me to Malaysia for a particular conference. And I visited one of the night markets. I saw this. So Mongolian cuisine is not from Mongolia; it's from Malaysia,
Oh,
technically.
wow.
So it's the Mongolian community that lives in Malaysia who has Mongolian rice. So then I realized, I came home, tried it. When my friends were drinking, I used to cook that as a bite for them. They loved it. I thought this is the thing that I wanted to do. So yeah,
That's how it came about.
that's how it came about.
So, before I get into the story of Mongolian Street, you also had a stint in radio.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about that? How you got into radio? What was the reason you got in? And you performed exceptionally well. And you said at one point you were the highest paid host
Yeah.
for a 3 hour show.
Yeah.
What was that journey like?
So I used to work as the head of key accounts for Sri Lanka's probably number one telco brand at one point. And during that time, I had hit a rough patch again, and I wanted like some personal space. So when you're working in the telco industry, like you'd get calls from ministers and like heads of state even saying their lines are not working, and they won't call the sales agent, they call you at all sorts of time. So we were not allowed to switch off our phones. But then one of like my coworkers said, you have a voice, would you like to try radio? I said, I'd love to. Shall we do that? And I went for a voice test. I got the job. And Sunday, 2 to 6 p.m., there's a show, I can't remember what it was called, but I was given that particular show. So I was allowed by the CEO of that company to switch off that phone for that particular 4 hours. And that those 4 hours were so therapeutic, like nothing, just the music I love and my own space. So, but the funny thing was, I wasn't good at coming up with stuff to speak on my own. So I used to script every word I wrote, but I was able to read it out as if I was speaking. I don't know how that happened. And the very next day, I was given to stand in for the morning show host because he felt sick. So my second day in radio, I was on the morning show for Legends 966. And I did that as a stand-in primetime host, but I was still writing my scripts. Then Gold FM called me and gave me the evening show, 5 to 8. First, still for a very high salary, but not as high as how I ended up. But I used to go and do the evening show also, believe it or not. Every segment I spoke, I used to prepare, type it out, print it out, and read a script. Because I
Seriously.
couldn't come up with it on my own. I would
Which
say,
year was this? When did you first start at Gold
this
FM?
was 2016-ish is when I was at Gold. Radio started in 2014-ish, but
Okay.
then 2015 was Gold FM. And then I was doing that, but I used to read out always. And then one day I couldn't take my script. I couldn't find a printout. And I just tried to do it on my own, speak small sentences, one sentence, two sentences per segment. And I was okay. Then confidence came. Imagine 3 years after radio is when I dropped the script and started actually speaking.
Shit.
And but I was still getting paid a lot because they thought I'm reading. They can't see what's going on in the studio. And then I got a better corporate break in a car company. So I completely got off radio and started doing a show only on weekends. And then my chairman, Mr. Rena Silva, who I really, really respect, said, you wanted to be a businessman, right? I said, yes. He said, so I'll pay you the same amount you're getting paid as the head of sales of this particular company, but you have to work for only 3 hours, 5 to 8. But during the day, you have to plan your business. Every now and then, come and run it by me. I want to see how you're doing. So he wanted me to be a businessman. He's an absolute blessing. You know, people might say anything like, I have seen the real side of that guy. I have nothing but respect. Uh, and he paid me that salary. The first time I got the salary, I counted it to see, oh, was he actually being like honest? And he did that. So I did that for about 4 years, even after the restaurant started. I used to call every single customer who ordered. I used to do that from the studio. So till I had 2 branches, I still used to do the radio show and ultimately ended up with the state award. And that's when I hung up.
I remember I started off at Gold FM, I think, in 2019. And
Yes,
that's, I think, when we first met.
correct.
And I think your restaurant was in full swing by maybe 2020.
2020,
Yeah.
yes.
And I remember coming into the studio. You'd
Yeah,
still talk to me,
yeah.
but you'd be on your tablet the entire
I
time.
know. So the Uber Eats tab was with
Yes,
me, not in the
yes,
restaurant. I
yes,
would take it
yes.
everywhere, to the
Yeah,
bathroom, everywhere, because I had to call every single customer
yeah, yeah.
who placed an order to build that relationship. So more than, I mean, food is good, but more than the food, I would say the communication kept that initial customer base from coming and recommending. Because for the customer, I spoke to him using his name. He knew my name, the owner. So when he goes to a party and says, "Oh, I'll order from Shevon's restaurant, not Mongolian Street," because I was now his friend. Like
Yes.
wherever I go, I meet people who come and speak to me, and I made so many friends through that. So you'd always eat from your friend's restaurant, right? I mean, you eat from
Absolutely.
us always. So just like that,
Yeah.
imagine if your customers are
and
your
and it
friends.
gives the customer a certain sense of what's the word for it, you feel satisfied, you
Yeah,
feel proud to
correct.
come to that. I mean, every time I come
Yeah.
into Mongolian Street, I still see the articles that you
Yeah,
have
that
hung
that
up.
you wrote. Yeah,
And so I feel so happy to just come there and have a
yeah,
meal, because I know I share some history with you,
correct,
and it feels
correct,
really good to come to the restaurant and
correct.
eat. So I can only imagine how, when
Yeah,
you call every customer that comes in,
yeah,
how they feel, because you would never get that in any other restaurant.
yeah.
You would never get that
So the
anywhere
thing
else.
is now you wrote our articles even before we had a restaurant, when I used to like cook
Yeah.
myself from home and deliver. So I'm totally grateful for that. And when you see where it is now, you feel good. There are customers who call us as well, who say, "I used to order when you used to come in your white color vessel and deliver, and I used to go to Khatunayaka, Ragam, all these places and deliver." So they still order. Let's say something goes wrong with an order, they never leave. They call and say, "Machang, I know your taste. Today it was like this." Then I'd always send a free pack. We never compromise there. It's this. My policy is purpose over profit. So you have a purpose in how you do business. Do an ethical business, build an ethical brand, known for honesty and good stuff. That's our purpose. When the purpose is met, the profits come like in a crazy way. Like if I went back in time and told Shevon, who started cooking in his mother's kitchen in 2017, 18, that this company would have done this much last year in total revenue, I don't think he would believe. Like, it's been so good. Yeah.
How have your parents' support been when you started off the restaurant? Because I'm asking this question because a lot of people, when they start their own thing, right, it can be quite a daunting activity to go into, because every parent that comes from a working background wants their kid to get into a
Correct.
working background. They want
Correct.
them to get into corporate, perform
Correct.
well there.
Correct.
How did your parents support you?
That's a really good question because it has a seriously cool answer. So, whenever I wanted to do business, before my dad retired, he discouraged me. He said, "You're doing so well in the corporate sector." My sister did really well. She was the head of Corp Comms of Brandix during the COVID crisis when there was a so called Brandix cluster. And she was able to share the truth behind that and navigate Brandix out of it. So she's a corporate person. She still is. My dad, so he retired in 2016, a year before I wanted to start Mongolian Street. Um, he retired. He was a marketing genius. Some of the biggest brands you see now, when they hit rough patches, my dad did some crazy stuff to bring those brands back, and it's still there. Some of these brands are in the top 10 in Sri Lanka. But he retired at 61, and 62, he didn't even get the diary or the calendar from that very company. And that's what he told me. uh, I think he never believed that could ever happen. And he wanted to do business at 61. It didn't work out because his ideas were outdated. So when you're 60, 61, yes, you are very relevant in a company, but for experience, not for creating something new. but for making balanced decisions. So his creative season, he had given it to someone else. Now he was left with nothing at that point. So when I called and said, Mr. Rena Silva offered me this to do my own thing, and I'm going to quit this car company. I thought he'll scold me. He said, don't make the same mistake I made. Go for it. Do the business. So this business is as a result of the validation I received because he's my hero. I've seen the genius things he did in marketing, and when he said go for it, that was it. I've never done a corporate stint after that. My mom is the one, so we had this massive commercial cook at home. So I would get ready for the deliveries. I'd do the prep in the night, get ready for the shower for the deliveries. And after I shower and get dressed only, I toss the rice, put it back and deliver because it has to stay hot. So the raw rice has to be cooked in the rice cooker by somebody. My mother used to wake up early morning and she did that for me every day. When we go for a catering gig, I keep because we come at 2, 3 in the morning, I keep it out in the garage. When I wake up in the morning, it's laid out in the sun. My father has washed everything because he said, I did my job in the morning, night, he wanted to do it. So I have no words. To this day, my dad is the one who audits every sale in all the restaurants. He doesn't want me to outsource it. He wants to do it. He works, restaurant closes at 10 o'clock. He works from there till midnight, 12:30 every night still, or even on Saturdays and Sundays to audit to see whether something was siphoned or someone has done anything in our staff. So he audits everything every day for 2.5 hours to this day. So if you have that support from people at home, it helps. But the thing is, this thing that you said, Sri Lankan mentality, where our parents are used to doing a job and that stability, especially your generation, you're Gen Z.
No, millennial.
Millennial. They really?
Just
So,
about.
so especially Gen Zs, I really admire them
Yeah.
because almost everyone has a side hustler. Almost
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
person. So that's amazing because I think we have broken out of that mentality of like a job only. But that's a challenge that you will have to navigate through to convince your folks because you don't necessarily need their support, but if you have that support, it goes a long way. Long way.
An interesting question that pops up when you say that is you're right. Everyone that is my generation and below, we always feel the need to start something of our own, right? And when you talk to a lot, if I talk to my friends, right, all of them say, hey, I'm having a really tough time working with someone else or working and listening to someone that is above me. So because of that, I want to start my own thing. And there are pros and cons that come with that. There are challenges that come with starting your own business, and it's a huge risk, right? I think even for me, if I talk about my personal experience, if you had spoken and when we used to talk back in 2019, 2020, I would have told you the same thing.
Yeah.
That I just want to be on my own.
Yeah.
I don't want to work for anyone else. But as life has progressed slowly, I have realized the value of also having something a bit more stable in
Exactly.
terms of
Yeah.
a job
Yeah.
while having my own side hustle.
Yeah.
What would your outlook on that be, and what advice would you give for everyone that's starting out their career that thinks in this same way that I want to do something by myself, I don't want to work for anyone else?
Right. That's a very good question. The thing is this, having your own thing is amazing. There's nothing like it. You can't beat that. If I don't feel like working today, I don't have to work today.
Yeah.
But I will work extra hard tomorrow. You have a 9 to 5 job. I sometimes, most days, I work till 2 a.m. So that's the downside of it. But when I work till 2 a.m., I earn a lot of money if I work till 2 a.m., like a lot. So, but the thing is this, all the things that I apply in my business came from people I reported to and I respected. So having a boss, you don't want to work for somebody kind of thing, I don't think it's in principle, you being your own boss is a really cool thing. It's very good. But having someone to report to is also good. It disciplines you. You can't beat experience anyway. You can have your own spin on it. Obviously, you don't have to do the same thing that your boss did, but there'll be at least something you learn from your boss. He's a boss for a reason. Of course, you get the bad apple here and there, but I have learned, like some of the best things I have learned. There's a boss that most of people in this particular media organization that you and I work for hated. To this day, I call him. To this day, I respect him. I never had any issues with him because my attitude towards him was I have seen him being a star at what he does. He does crazy things. He's not normal. I will tell him that he's mad. He's a madman. But that madness made him so good that nobody could do an international event to this day in Sri Lanka like him. He lives in another country now, but the best event producers here get him down to Sri Lanka to produce the biggest events in Sri Lanka. He's that good. I saw that, I respected that, and even if he went off at me, I would never say anything. So my attitude towards him, your boss matters. Now here's where it gets interesting. I have 3 brands that I run now, and there's another company that I'm trying to do. But I work for a media organization part time. More than keeping my foot in media, the reason is I want someone to report to in life at even one place. I want a boss. In the political sphere that I'm in, also, I work for a particular person. I don't draw a salary. I have never asked for a benefit, neither will I have any benefit. I want a boss. So I'm one of those people. Yes, you want to work for yourself. Yes, I am working for myself. But in at least one thing that I'm involved in, I want to report to someone. Because what's the point? How do I learn otherwise? I can learn from watching podcasts to going for seminars and stuff like that. But I'm not accountable to anyone. I can do whatever I want. That is not good. That's not always good. That can be good at certain points. So there is someone. Now, I have an issue with punctuality, as people know. But this boss of mine, he blasts me if I get 1 minute late even. Now I'm trying to fix my punctuality because I'm scared of this guy and I want to not disappoint him. And there are certain things that would take 2 days, he wants done in 1 day. Now my reaction time is very like quick as a result of me trying to please that boss. And now it has bled into my business where our business is more effective as well. So all because I want a boss. So at any given time, I will always make sure I will be involved in some project somewhere where I have to report to someone. And that is very important. I think authority and everything is good as much as you want freedom to be your own boss, to work on your own hours. Yes, all amazing. Don't get me wrong, that's good. But for your own sake, have someone that you can report to, or at least as a mentor, who can call you out and say, that's wrong, get your act together. It's very important.
Let's talk a bit about Mongolian Street. You told us a story of how it started.
Yeah.
How has it progressed since then, and how is it doing now?
So we have 3 outlets. We are celebrating our 5th anniversary on the 8th of March. We are trying to open 2 more branches this year. We haven't blindly gone on a branch opening streak. When we open a branch, we want to get it right. The consistency from one branch to another, the food has to taste the same. I mean, it's not like doing like central production. Like if you have a dessert bar or something, you can centrally produce and have many outlets. But imagine this is rice, and Sri Lankans love rice. So they're very harsh on the ratings also when it comes to rice. So we're at 4.7 and Uber Eats, which I think is not normal at all, because that consistency is important. And for that, you have to have a good set of staff with the right attitude. So something we do is, I'm a guy who had a second chance. I'm a guy who had a second chance in life. So we try to do that to people as well. We hire rehabilitated drug addicts, people who have had mental health issues also, and take them into our fold. We have a different program into getting them to normalcy. Uh, and as at now, we have 4 people who are working, who used to, do drugs. except for one guy, none of the other three even smoke. They bought their own bikes from their own money. They have hope and dreams. They've been with us for about 3.5 years already. For the whole of last year, we had only one staff who left. Generally, in restaurants, it doesn't happen. Attrition is one of
Turnover
the
is
biggest
quite high.
issues.
Yeah.
So one guy left. That is because he came saying that he wanted to work for a period of 1 year. He wanted to go to Japan. That's the only guy who left. People don't leave. So that's the culture we want to build. We want to build a community. We want them to be free. We want them to start their own restaurant one day. So we teach them everything from doing the accounts to how to do stock updates to all of those things are taught here. And nothing is kept back from them as well. We also make sure that there's good discipline. At the same time, people are paid really well. Every person receives at least one salary increment every year, a sizable one. And salaries are paid on time and things like that. So we have a set of ethics that we believe in, and I think that is why the business works. And now I think our business over the past 5 years from where we started, I think has probably grown 60, 70 times in sale at least. This
Damn.
is a ballpark figure I'm imagining, like I just thought of. But it's been very, very good. Like we've been covered by almost all news agencies, media outlets, because our story is unique. Um, so, yeah.
You recently launched a drink brand. Talk
Yes.
a bit about this.
So reason behind that is we sell aerated beverages done by the people. So our Mongolian cuisine, we use good ingredients, the premium ingredients, less harmful on the body and so on. We don't use polythene in the restaurants. It's all paper bags, paper boxes and so on. So now here we are ordering plastic beverages and so on, and aerated, not the best for your health. At the same time, we sell about 1,200 units of beverages for other brands. So both together, we thought, why don't we start our own natural beverage? It's good on the body, good on the health, as well as doesn't have plastic. It's a glass bottle. And if we can get at least 50% of the Mongolian street beverage sale onto our own brand, that's much better. So even the production is done by people from underprivileged backgrounds. Currently, we have only one employee doing all the work, the bottling part of the work. I am the marketing guy and the labeling man and all of that. But that is also from an underprivileged background where her husband and son are both in jail. And this person is trying to rebuild that family once again. So we are doing our part by giving her a stake in the business. So she's actually a stakeholder of the business. So stuff like that. So that's our brand Tiki juice bombs.
What's the plan for Tiki? Where do you see it going over the next couple of years?
So here's the thing. Mongolian Street started because I just wanted like a small restaurant because I loved food like you to eat and to cook my own thing.
Yeah.
It grew exponentially. So God willing, if he sees it being an international brand, I mean, how cool would that be? That's it. Yeah.
One of the things that, especially at the time that we used to work together, I used to admire about you is when you had a plan, when you had a future goal, you used to really sacrifice your now for what you wanted in the future. And I'll give you an example of that. I remember you saying you never used to go out
Yeah.
because you wanted to save up for a restaurant, you wanted to save up for the future. And we went out one time,
Yeah.
I remember, and you ordered a eclair or something
Yeah.
like that. And you said, this is the first time I've been out in a long time.
Yeah.
Right? How it's for me, it was really tough to even imagine something like that. And I think to this day, I struggle with that level of discipline or commitment.
Yeah.
What an important part did that discipline play in your life, and what advice would you have to give to someone that, like me, what advice would you give to me that's struggling with that sort of thing that I need to fix in myself to maybe work towards my future in a better way?
The discipline is very important, but knowing where to spend is also important. Like I would sacrifice. I used to even then. Even now. Um, make sacrifices like on myself, like as in I would not go to a place or whatever. But for my significant other, no limits. Like I would go on a date to the best place. Anything she would want, I would make sure she has. But she herself will notice and say, oh, like, so don't you want to go buy a new shirt or whatever? So most of the things I wear, including like whatever I would wear, are like gifts that I've got from my parents or a significant other or something like that. I rarely go shopping, like rarely. But I would treat people very well, like the best of everything, so that, you know, too tight on your budget also doesn't kind of work. But sometimes I wonder whether I'm a little hard on myself also. I haven't decided whether what I'm doing is right or wrong. But that discipline is very important financially itself, because especially when you start a business and the profits start coming, people change their car. I watched this podcast by a person I admire who started around the same time, which is Joel, a Carnage. He bought his first car recently, 10 years after he built a brand. I used to see him because his store is next to a restaurant. And I saw him in an Insight once. And I thought, this guy has this massive clothing store. He has an Insight. So I thought he's a guy like me, because I have had 5 vessels at a time where I could have afforded a Merc, probably, but I never upgraded because I was investing to this dream that I had. And I thought, oh, another guy like me. He's driving an Insight. Now, then I find out he's better than me, because that Insight even wasn't his. It was his sister's Insight, you know. And he just bought his first vehicle. That was, he could have bought any vehicle, but he bought a particular brand, like, you know. That's the thing, that discipline. Like our business, like I said, doesn't owe anything to anybody. No outstanding bills, nothing. Salaries are paid on the dot. Ask anybody on the first, all salaries are paid. Rents are paid on the dot. Never any areas, even during COVID or whatever, never. So financially, we don't have any burdens, accumulated debt to whatever. So that discipline goes a long way, because if you don't have the discipline upon yourself, to when the call comes, when you're not doing well, your friends won't call you. Like, but when you're doing well, so many people call you. Like I get invited for weddings a lot now. I get like invited for events 5-6 times a month now. But back then it didn't happen. But I decided not to go for those events back then, because I wanted to focus my energy and time on growing until my goal at the moment is still 45. And at that point, hopefully I can enjoy a little more. I've started enjoying a little now. But if you don't say no to the calls, then when you're doing well, you can't say no to those calls. So I still say no to those calls. Like you don't find me in a club or pub or drinking and stuff like that. If I go, it should be for a very important person, and that person has to be there. So I'm there just to make sure that person has a good time. I don't go for myself. I don't get a kick out of it anymore. But I mean, someone might say, but then when you were in your early 20s, you did all the 2 years. Yeah, I kind of did. Yeah.
All right, we have a lot more ground to cover.
Right.
Let's quickly go into a break.
Super.
We'll come back.
Awesome.
All right, everyone, just a quick reminder here that if you are someone that is struggling to speak in front of an audience, if you are someone that gets nervous when you see a large group of people, if you don't have the right vocabulary when you have to speak in English, and if you go every time you see a crowd, make sure to sign up to our public speaking classes. We have both online and physical classes. You can choose which one you want to join. But one thing I can guarantee is that if you sign up to our classes, you will be the most confident speaker that you have ever been. You will never say again. You'll speak as confidently as you possibly can, and you will be the best public speaker that you have the potential in yourself to be. So give me a call on the number below, and I will help you become a great public speaker. All right, Shevon, yeah, back after the break. And I want to continue from where you stopped earlier, which is you were talking about having a good circle of people, right? You talked about how having the right people in your life is important. And I'm sure you would have heard this quote: you are a sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most,
Yes.
right? How have you let that influence you over the years? Have you surrounded yourself with like minded people? Has that helped you move forward? Have you inspired the people around you? What has your experience been there?
So I totally agree with this because during those 2 naughty years, my five were very naughty people. So that was the result of what I became. My best example is I have a friend who was a childhood friend from a normal background, normal household, average economy. But he went to study in an international school for his A levels. Um, the people he was closest to were really affluent people. He went to international universities to so on. This guy pushed his parents to even sell maybe lands or whatever to keep up with them. And we thought, what is this guy doing? Because he would do anything to be in this particular circle to be able to relate to them. Today, as a result of it, he's been exposed to so many opportunities that he lives in probably one of the most expensive apartment properties, drives the best car to everything, extremely affluent. Because the conversations are different in those circles. That's the truth. So I would rather have um, who two friends who basically have a positive energy, never speak about negative stuff. My friends don't discuss girls. My friends don't do drugs or stuff. Their kick doesn't come from those things. They discuss opportunities, they discuss politics and uh, things like that. So it rubs off on you. So it's not even the top five people. Even if you love someone into your space, be very careful of who you entertain. I mean, that's why choosing a girlfriend or boyfriend is also very important. The energy they emit and the conversation can really be a game changer for you. If it's a positive person who's doing well in life, who has goals and so on, not just about the relationship, but like life goals, really, it will rub off on you. So, very important.
There are two perspectives that I see being projected on the internet quite often. One is you have to be grateful for what you have, you be content with what you have. And another is you have to never be satisfied with what you have and constantly keep achieving.
Yeah.
What type of person are you? What do you think of these views?
That's a really good question. Here's the thing, from a spiritual perspective, if you are never content, you are never going to be happy. What's the point? I mean, Bill Gates donated like most of his wealth outright because it's more than money. That's the truth. So you shouldn't be, the day you are content with where you are, where I think, okay, now from my 3 branches, I earn an X amount of money. I can afford an apartment and a good car and, a good lifestyle. This is enough. I stop creating and my business doesn't grow. Then it hits the bottom line and the sales recede. So you have to keep progressing just so that what you have survives as well. So if I have a particular car, I would want to upgrade one day, but I shouldn't be sort of obsessed with that growth. So yes, you need to want to grow. I don't think you should be satisfied, as in you shouldn't think, okay, this is enough. You should want more, but not be obsessed with wanting more. So that's the word I would say. You should want to grow more. You should want 100 branches, multiple businesses, the big houses, cars, and all of that should be something that you desire, but not an obsession where you lose your sleep and personal life and all of that because you'll kick the bucket before you know it otherwise.
Is it the goal that makes you happy, or is it the chase of it that makes you happy?
Another good question. There are times in the chase where it's amazing because there have been times where I have like gone for a catering gig, earn 10,000 only in profits, come home, wash the stuff, go to bed knowing we did well. That kick is a good kick. Achieving the goal also brings happiness, but there's always a goal bigger than that goal at any given time. So I would say the chase is beautiful. Yeah.
Now, you would have faced a lot of challenges as you were coming up in your life, as you built a business. When you're navigating these challenges, do you always think of it as, hey, this is a fantastic story for me to tell in the future, right? And do you feel that in that moment, or do you use it later on as an inspiration when you try to inspire someone else or you're trying to speak to someone else?
So there have been moments, like you said, when it happened, I knew like this would be a great story to tell.
Yeah.
Example, like on the first day of our first stall, I had a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
So the boards, the name board of the stall space was tied onto my car.
Yeah.
And as I was driving past the Yawana, the Parliament Japan Friendship Road stretch, the kind of knot untangled, and then the whole board went flying to the lake, and I had to park the car, and I literally teared up. I cried. I thought, okay, this is so difficult, you know. And then this Coast Guard boat came, and like they got it, and the Navy knows to tie a good knot. They tied it onto my car and went. I went to the thing, started to stall, sail is coming well. The entire East Street board fell onto my car, dented the car, my first day. And I was
Shit.
thinking, okay, it's what a day. And then I got over it. I looked at it. I didn't even straighten up the board. The guy said they will help me pay for this particular thing and then they will sort it out. I went back to the stall, still crashed on my car. And 10 minutes later, I told you, like, you know, this person I was dating before that was started going out with one of my friends. And I thought, what a terrible thing. And then she comes to my stall to buy food with this boy. And like, you know, this is the episode I'm trying to escape with this stall. So all in the same day.
Yeah.
And then I knew, man, this is going to be one cool story to tell one day. I mean, I hope she won't sue me for it, but sharing
Well, you're sharing it now.
I mean, could be anyone, right? But like, what a day!
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like from that
Yeah.
to like selling the number of packs we sell today, like that moment I knew it will be a good story if it works out. Some things, like when it happened, those were dark nights, like terrible, terrible days. I never thought there would be a story to tell about that. But now looking back, um, those are some of the best stories also. Just happens.
I've seen this come up in a couple of podcasts before where people have said, if you ask God, I want to be a successful person, God's response to that is to put you through as many challenges as possible. Because it's like cutting a diamond.
Yeah.
The more you take off all the dirt, the more you start to shine. Do you think this is true? Do you think the challenges that you have faced in your life has brought up the values in you to become who you are today?
Absolutely. Because if that particular breakup didn't happen, there wouldn't be a Mongolian street. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. I would be in the corporate sector still. And yeah, some of the toughest things in life is what taught me, um, you know, some of the things that has got me here. I have won state awards in radio and TV. But I started radio as an escape during a very dark time. I just wanted 4 hours of solitude. So it was a terrible time. If that incident didn't happen, I wouldn't have gotten to radio, not TV. I would have continued in that telco company. I would have never gotten into media. But because of that, I had to get in. I needed an outlet for 4 hours. And I think I'm one of two people who has won state awards for TV and radio. And wouldn't have happened. So I truly believe so. But having said that, that I mean, future doesn't look too good, right? Knowing that, oh, like if I actually want to arrive at the destination that I aspire to be at,
Yeah.
what more would I go through? And as it is, this has been a rough ride.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's part and parcel of being human, right? Like it's never a smooth ride.
Absolutely. You inspire a lot of people, right? And you're a role model for a lot of people. Who are your role models? Who inspires you?
My dad, like, inspires me a lot. He came from Kandy, When he came to Colombo, he didn't know any roads not even a road in Colombo. He had no clue. My uncle had to bring him because my uncle had played cricket in Colombo, so he knew a few roads. And he's gone through some really tough times, like scandals to this and that, and he kept his head up high. My mom also, um, being someone who worked in like a university to doing some really, really top jobs to ending up where she did and holding it all together has been amazing. So I would say I look up to them. Outside the family, I would say I kind of don't have role models outside the family. Like I told you off air, I think this is my perspective. I think a role model shouldn't be one single person. Shashan Das, I don't think should be a role model because Shashan Das, or forget Shashan Das, Shevon Pereira, has a downside. I know my downside. I can't hide that. Maybe I have 90% of good things that people should be inspired by, but there's 10% that no one should ever aspire to be. It's that bad. It could be that bad. So if you can pick out a particular part of me that inspires you, that is a positive in me, and a part of Shashan Das that is a positive part of you, and have your own role model, which is a bits and pieces of different people, like a role model, a hypothetical role model that is a collection of good traits of people. You'll never have all of those, but you'll aspire to be that, and it will make you a better person.
You're one of the most driven people that I know, right? And when someone looks at you from the outside, we would think, hey, you're always motivated, you're always driven, you're disciplined. To you, does motivation come from your intrinsic motivation, or do you look for external validation to keep you motivated?
Okay, the ideal answer should be it comes from within. There is a bit of external validation also. That's the truth.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
truth if you're being honest yourself. The well done, Shevon, or I look up to you, Shevon. As humans, we like that. Like, as much as you might go to an award show and say, oh, this is just a token, it doesn't mean anything to you. It means everything to you. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like I said, I was a quiet guy in school. And then when I got that particular bank job, like I remember the school carols that year when we go to speak to all the teachers. No? So when my friends went, one of my friends showed me to one of the teachers and said, teacher, he's the first guy in our batch to be a manager. And he has bought a car also. Like that, that's the day I thought, okay, I might be something, you know. But from that day, I wanted to be that. Like, so I think I thrive a lot on external validation, to be very honest. Internally, because I was in a lot of debt in my early 20s, I don't want to be broke again. So I want money. I want to be stable financial freedom, not just money. I want financial freedom. But other than that, everything else is driven by I want to be an inspiration to others, and I want to see this country prospering. The validation that comes along with fuels me to do more and more and more. Yeah.
What are your future plans in terms of business? Are you planning to diversify into anything else?
Yeah.
Are you planning to get into a different field altogether? What is your plan?
So the three businesses that are in the mix currently are all in the F&B thing. We are diversifying slightly into it. I aspire to start a hotel soon. Apart from it, I haven't thought beyond that at the moment. I am very interested in seeing this country prosper. I feel I have something to give. I've been involved in a little bit of things, a few things in the political sphere in the past couple of years, and that has exposed me to things which makes me want to get into it more. I've seen when someone has a good heart and wants something good for the country, that the resources are available. But a lot of people come to earn money in politics. So I want to change that and be someone like that. And if I can be someone who can place Sri Lanka in a better position in the global map, I'd like to get into a leadership role in this country as well.
I think an interesting follow up question to that would be, when you talk about politics in Sri Lanka, you talk about politics, it's synonymous with corruption, right? That's the mindset of all Sri Lankans. You ask anybody, anywhere, it's politics, it's corruption. Do you think you can change that? Do you think you have to pander to the ideas in politics currently to be able to progress yourself? How are you going to navigate these challenges?
Okay, so politics is corrupted all over the world in most cases, all over the world. People talk about nepotism in Sri Lanka, but then look at America. Donald Trump's son-in-law, daughter, all of them are in the mix. They are in high positions. So it's just not about nepotism, meaning like you promote your own family, but you trust your own family. So you get them involved because certain things require trust. Corruption per se, my perspective of it is I try to earn money and I try to be financially stable so that I believe a person who doesn't have financial freedom, who doesn't have finances, if they get into politics, they will earn from politics. Which is why I believe, like now, if you say take Rishi, the Prime Minister in the UK previously, wealthy family, Narendra Modi, businessman, Donald Trump, businessman. They are wealthy people. The Bushes, oil barons. They don't need to earn money from politics. Even in this Sri Lankan context, I'll mention a few names. The former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, affluent family. Bandaranaike's affluent family. Person I'm very close to, Sagala Ratnayaka, affluent family, the estate owners. They don't need politics to earn money. They can earn far more from things they've inherited, like Wickremesinghe's press barons, Bandaranaike's landowners. So I personally don't believe I've been exposed to them. I've never seen them being corrupt at all. Like they've not earned money. So you get people who are affluent. A, if they know to make money, they can make money for the country. They can grow an economy. B, if you know to make money and you have money, you won't try to earn from that. So that's your best shot at corruption. People who don't have money and they just seem to have ethics or project themselves as having ethics, sooner or later, give a year or two in power, they cave in. It's just that experience, because when you are a leader in the country, you go for more events and so on, and then you see people wearing a better watch, driving a better car, and this and that, and your human tendencies, you want that. How do you get it? Are you saying 225 people in parliament, their ethic levels are so high that they don't have money, but they don't want it either? No, at least 10%, 23 people will want it. So that's the thing.
I want to also talk about your role as a salesperson. And I think the fact that you're able to communicate so well with people also is because of maybe your experience in sales, right? As a communicator, as a salesperson, what are some skills, what are some values that people entering this field, it doesn't matter whether it's sales, if they're trying to be an entrepreneur, if they're trying to get into a corporate, what are skills that they should build up if they want to succeed in their life in general?
The most important thing is conviction. Like, if you believe in the topic you speak of, like now, let's say if you spoke to me about politics, and if I'm sure, I'm convinced that this particular candidate is a good person, I can talk about him all day. And when I speak to you about that candidate, you will be convinced because I share that conviction with you. Same goes with the product. I would never work for a company or try to sell a product that I don't believe is good. If I believe it's good, because I'm convinced by it. Now there's a beverage brand, and Dosif Island, which we sell in our restaurants. I use it personally. I'm convinced it's good. So I promote it. And because of me, so many people have started consuming it because I'm convinced. So as a salesperson, if you're trying to sell something, be convinced then that it's good, and you believe in it first. If it's not something you believe in, don't sell it at all. Second thing is honesty. Like, if you are honest, maybe what you're saying is not accurate, but you think it's good. That's and you're talking about it, that means it's honest. It's an honest person. Basically be a good human. Want good things for other people. Don't be selfish. If you want now, I don't have attrition issues in our restaurant, staff turn around, because I want to make sure someone who can't cook has a better life. A drug addict has a second chance. So my intention there was to help somebody get their life back. But I have a reward. I have staff who don't leave. So intention is very important. Pure intentions sells. Pure intention earns. Pure intention gives you long life, joy, happiness, everything. So heart.
How important has communication been? And I think we spoke about this right at the start as well. I said you're one of the best interpersonal communicators that I know. How important has communication been to help you get to where you are today?
I think communication has been everything. Everything. As in, when I started the restaurant, like I said, we'd get 3, 4 orders a day, but I would call every customer and they would be my friend afterwards. They would feel I'm their friend because they'd sense genuineness. Then they'll order again. They'll tell their friends, this guy, I know this guy, order from him. That's how the business grew. When it comes to like even media, when you speak on air, your communication skills is what makes someone who can't even see your face on the radio feel he's my friend, he's my buddy, I'm going to continue to listen to him, so on. And even in your love life, I mean, if you can get a yes from a girl, you might be the best suitor for her, but if you can't tell her how and communicate that and tell her how you feel properly in proper communication skills, you won't get the girl even. No, it's as simple as that.
The communication, you would say, is one of the most, if
The
not the
most, the
most.
most, the most. I have seen. There's a guy who was a general manager in a company that I worked for. He was so good at his job of um, running a particular team, but now he's not in a job because when he came to that particular level as general manager, when he was handling small teams, he was okay. He couldn't speak to a crowd. He could never speak to a crowd. I used to see he'd hold a paper, all his points, and his hand is shaking. All these guys are working for him. Hand is shaking. He couldn't. So he couldn't grow beyond that point. And there also he started, the pressure got to him, crumbled. So communication is so important. Like even if you go to a shop to be able to get the best thing, you have to be able to communicate, right?
What holds people back from being able to communicate well?
I think fear. I think always wondering what is he going to say if my English is wrong. Even in this particular conversation, although I'm an English news reader, I'm sure I made at least, 5 grammatical errors, at least. You could be a teacher, maybe you made at least one. Who cares? You you make mistakes. You keep. I mean, you can't even say, I make mistakes in Sinhala more than English. But I wasn't born speaking Sinhala. I learned to speak Sinhala. So it's a constant process.
A lot of the people that are watching our podcast are either people that are struggling to speak English or those people that can speak English but are scared to speak in English. You would have faced a lot of instances in your life where people had negative things to say about you. People didn't always think positively about you. People said things that were nasty to your face. How do you not let these things affect you and you get into that mindset of, hey, I don't care about what people have to say, I'm going to say what's right and I'm going to keep moving forward? Does this get you down or do you not care?
It's through experience it stops getting you down at one point. But earlier it used to get to me a lot. Like, for an example, like a person I used to work with on a daily basis, the person closest to me at one point, when I was starting these restaurants, like not my co-host, huh? But he was amazing, absolutely amazing. But like when I was starting up, he used to say, "බත් පැකටයක් හදන්න යනවද? ඔයාලා ලැජ්ජ නැද්ද? Frank, බත් හදන්න." I would say, "No, it's going to be a big brand." So You studied so much to be a batkar hai, like that. But like, reaches out to me now and then nowadays. In media, I have had that as well. But now what happens is, if someone, still happens, sometimes sadly, sometimes it happens from people close to you, would happen. It might be in the most innocent way, without meaning to like put you down. It's their general demeanor. They would see something from a different angle, but when they say it, it kind of discourages you. But some people say it to your face also, like there are people. Now, for an example, I've inherently been born with skinny legs. My dad had that as well.
Yeah.
But I do 2 leg days a week.
Yeah.
Still, it's relatively skinnier than yours, But there'd be someone who'd say, like, reply to an Insta story or whatever, do legs, bro. I was like, I do legs. It's you,
Twice.
yeah, the battle is real. Like, it's just like, it's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
But it puts me down, though. Every time that, if someone says that, like, I really get affected by that. My dad used to have a physical trait about him that used to make him not go to work when someone says that about him, a particular thing. So, but if someone says something negative to me now about my work or whatever, I think it doesn't come from a good place. I think it's the devil trying to get into my head. It's changed to a level that I kind of rejoice when that happens. If someone says, oh, you can't do this particular thing, you will never be good at this, and it kind of happens, I know I'm going to be really good at it. I know that particular curse, so to speak, the spoken word, works in reverse and in my favor. It kind of has happened that way as well. So it's your perspective. I think the energy of how something functions also changes in the way you see it. If you like, when someone says, "Bat packet ekak devi kunani," if you really get affected by it, you'll never start Mongolian Street. You'll still be doing a radio show, no? That's all.
My final question to you is, if you had 24 hours to live, right? It's the last 24 hours of your life, and you had to leave the world with a lasting message, what would that final message be?
Family comes first. Always remember your business or your job, everything you do to earn money for family. The love and respect that your family can give, your mother, father, your partner, children, no one else can give. No one will be as genuine as them. I would live for family, nothing else. Businesses all are just to contribute to that. Sometimes when you do business, you kind of lose that focus when the awards and like this glory comes in. You have to ground yourself and remember it's all for that. And that's the greatest blessing. So just don't be over-consumed by your goals that you forget to live. Live.
Thank you so much, Shevon. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video around. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And till our next video, keep practicing.